Hey everyone, welcome to That's Good Denver. I'm your host Chris Romeo, and today I'll be doing the Week 1 NFL predictions as the NFL season is on your way. Kickoff is tomorrow night in Kansas City between the Lions and Chiefs. So I was gonna do a Broncos preseason recap, but I just haven't had the time to do that because I've been busy with college. I have 2 exams later this week plus a quiz on Friday, and I'm heading to Chicago tomorrow, so it'd be kind of a lot. I have a lot processing in my brain right now. Plus, I'm working at Papa John's, but yeah, I tried. I watched the Broncos in the preseason. I guess the quick breakdown is they went 1-2. And game one, they lost to the Cardinals 18-17, winning the whole entire game until their defense kind of fell apart at the end. Same thing in the 49ers game. We lost 21-20. Defense played good throughout the first 3 quarters, but didn't play as well in the fourth quarter because our starters weren't in. And the Broncos destroyed the Rams 41-0 in game 3 in Mile High. So, yeah, Broncos went 1-2 on the preseason. And Russell Wilson played like 3 drives or 4 drives in the entire preseason. So, hopefully him and Sean Payton can develop some chemistry and, get that offense back on track to where it should be. Have a great defense, need the offense though. And, yeah, sorry I haven't posted in like a month. There just hasn't been much going on with sports. I follow baseball, but I don't really want to break down Rockies games when they're 41 and 89. So yeah, they suck pretty bad. But hey, not every team in Denver, not every team in Denver, Colorado can be like the Denver Nuggets winning the NBA championship. Yes, sir. But yeah. Yeah, looking for this football season. Broncos haven't made it to the playoffs since they won the Super Bowl. And before I get in this video, I've just been reflecting a lot lately. I've had a good sports life being a Denver sports fan. The Broncos winning the Super Bowl 8 years ago. Celebrate my first championship, and the Avalanche winning the Stanley Cup. Even though I'm a kind of a bandwagon Avalanche fan. They won the cup, and hopefully all of you know I'm a big Denver Nuggets fan. I'm a pretty diehard Denver Nuggets fan and Denver Broncos, so I definitely deserve credit for the Nuggets winning the championship this year. And real quick before I get into this week 1 prediction, dorm setup, got the Nuggets championship banner right there, and got the other championship shirts from Denver sports teams. The Avalanche Broncos winning the championship and the Nuggets winning the championship right there. My senior year of college at Bethel, so yeah, hopefully it's a good school year, and hopefully I can graduate at the end of this year so I can move to Colorado maybe and find a good job after college. But anyway, let's get into these week 1 predictions. All right, so starting off week 1, we got the Jaguars at the Colts. My friend Blake Egley will be going to this game. I'm pretty sure he's going to the Colts home opener, so it should be exciting. The Jaguars, they ended the season very well last year, winning like 6 of the last 7 games and making it into the playoffs, and even pulling off a 27-point comeback against the LA Chargers to move on to the divisional round where they barely lost to the Chiefs. What a season by them last year. I expect the Jaguars to win this division next year. They only got better in the offseason. Trevor Lawrence, now he's got some guys to throw the ball to like Christian Kirk, and got a decent run game with Travis Etienne. And at Colts, it'll be Anthony Richardson's first start, so I want the Colts to win for my friend Blake, but I'm going to have to go with the Jaguars here on the road. I just think they're the better team. I think it'll be decently close, but Jacksonville has the better offense, and I think they have the better all-around team. Final score up, Jacksonville winning 27-20. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals heading into Cleveland to take on the Browns. The Bengals, so yeah, the Bengals, they lost in the AFC Championship game in a rematch to the Chiefs. Really close game. Might have gotten screwed might have screwed themselves with that penalty at the end to put the Chiefs in field goal range. But I expect the Bengals to be just as good. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they make another run at the Super Bowl. And the Browns, they got Deshaun Watson now. They built that defense up, and if Deshaun Watson plays a full season, this Browns team could low-key go for a Super Bowl. And this is a very good matchup week 1. I honestly have no idea who I want. I didn't put much thought into who I have winning this game. It could definitely go either way, but I'm going to go upset, and I'm going to take the Browns at home here. I think they're at home, and Deshaun Watson is, if he plays his potential, the Browns should be really good. And I think it's going to be a close game, but I have Cleveland winning by the final score of 30-27. Next up, you got the Houston Texans taking on the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. So the Texans, they got a lot better. Or not a lot better. They got better this offseason. They got C.J. Stroud as their quarterback from Ohio State. They, are going in the right direction, possibly the rebuild process. I would still say they're in rebuild mode ever since trading DeAndre Hopkins, which doesn't look as bad now that he doesn't play for the Cardinals. But the Ravens are a lot better of a team. A lot of people are sleeping on the Baltimore Ravens right now. And I don't really get why. Lamar Jackson's inconsistent and gets hurt a lot. But you got to think they got Odell Beckham now. They got Mark Andrews, one of the best tight ends in the league. Good run game with Lamar Jackson. So I'm taking the Ravens to win this game pretty easily. Final score, I have Baltimore winning 34-17. And next up, you got the Las Vegas Raiders, our arch rivals, heading to Denver at Empower Field for Sean Payton's debut and Russell Wilson's second year in the Mile High City. Raiders at my Broncos. So the Raiders, I think they kind of took a step back. They lost some players. They lost Derek Carr. They kind of downgraded at the quarterback position by Jimmy Garoppolo. And Jimmy Garoppolo is not a bad QB, but the reason why he succeeded in San Francisco is because he had such a good team around him, such a good run game, such a good defense, tight end. And, in Las Vegas, he doesn't really have as good of a team. He has Devontae Adams on his side and Josh Jacobs, but that's about it, honestly. And their defense is not that good. So I expect Denver to win this game. Final score, I have the Broncos winning 27-20. And, if we lose this game to the Raiders week 1, then, I could see the problems already starting back up in Denver. But, hey, it's a new season, and, let's get this dub week 1. Next up, you got the Miami Dolphins heading into L.A. to take on the Chargers. The Dolphins, they kind of limped into the playoffs last year by losing 5 straight games, go 8-8, and then barely beating the Jets at home with Zach Wilson to get in the playoffs. And the Chargers, they had a fine regular season last year, but they choked that game away, like I said, 27-0 in the wild card round. Both teams pretty much stayed the same. Not a whole lot of moves this offseason. I mean, Jalen Ramsey is going to be out for the Dolphins for a while. And, the Chargers still have a very good all-around team. The Chargers are at home, so I expect them to win this game. Final score, I have Chargers winning 31-24. Then next up, you got the Buffalo Bills taking on the New York Jets. I would probably say either this game or the Bengals-Browns game is the game of the week. So this is on Monday Night Football. The Bills, who have had a lot of expectations the past couple of years but can't get it done in the playoffs under Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, even though there's rumors Stephon Diggs might want out, versus the dang near the off-season champions and the New York Jets. They have a lot of hype right now, same as the Broncos last year by getting Aaron Rodgers, upgrading at that position. They got a decent all-around team, and the Jets, Aaron Rodgers was a missing piece for them. So yeah, I think this matchup could go definitely either way. I could see the Jets winning, but I'm gonna have to stick with Buffalo as them winning this game. Final score, I have the Bills winning 27-24 on a game-winning field goal. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a bloodbath in Week 1 already on Monday Night Football. Then the next game, you got on opening night, tomorrow night, you got the Detroit Lions, the new and improved Detroit Lions taking on the Chiefs in Kansas City. Yeah, the Lions, they ended the season very well, almost got in the playoffs at a 9-8 record, knocked the Packers out of the playoffs. And they only got better. Their defense got better. Jared Goff, I expected to take a big leap forward. They could honestly win that division, I think. I kind of think the Vikings will win it just because the Lions are still young, but it doesn't mean they can't win it. And the Chiefs are the same old, the reigning Super Bowl champions. Patrick Mahomes is still going to have a great year, even though Travis Kelce might be out Week 1, and that is a big blow. Because Travis Kelce was Patrick Mahomes' go-to guy without Tyreek Hill last year. I expect the Chiefs to win this game, even without Travis Kelce, and even with the Lions being very good. They are at home. They're the reigning Super Bowl champions for a reason. Final score, I have the Chiefs winning 24-20. And then next up, you got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. This should be an interesting matchup. I think, the 49ers, they're about the same team as last year. They got a really good foundation and good offensive line. Brock Purdy will be the starting quarterback now that they lost Jimmy Garoppolo, and they lost the other quarterback. I'm spacing out on his name for whatever reason. But, the 49ers got a very good all-around team, very good offensive line, defense. Their quarterback, even with Brock Purdy, is lacking a little bit. But, they're the better team than the Steelers. The Steelers have a good defense, but not that good of an offense. So that's why I have the 49ers winning this game. Final score, 30-20. Next up, you got the Tennessee Titans taking on the New Orleans Saints. My roommate Dylan is a big Saints fan, and now that I gave Dylan a shout-out, I will give a shout-out to Joe. My friend Joe. Sorry I have the Bills beating the Jets in Week 1 because he's a Jets fan now. But the Titans taking on the Saints. The Saints got one of the best rosters in football, dang near. I mean, they definitely got the best roster in their division, I think. In football, that's probably a bit of a stretch, but they got a good, solid roster. Now they got Derek Carr, who's a very underrated quarterback, off of Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and a very good defense has always been good. And the Titans, they kind of they kind of had a weird offseason. They kind of took a step back with the whole Ryan Tannehill situation. I think he got traded this offseason, and I think the Saints are just a much better team. That's why I expect the Saints to win this game. Final score, I have the Saints winning 24-14. The next up, we got a Super Bowl rematch from about 6 years ago. The Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning NFC champions, taking on the New England Patriots in Foxborough. The Eagles, they got a very, very good team still. They might be a little hungover from the Super Bowl loss last year, but they're still a very good team. Meanwhile, the Patriots, they got an okay team, but I think they're going to bottom out in their division. Everyone is just that much better than them. So that's why I have the Eagles winning this game. Final score, I have Philadelphia winning 31-23. Then next up, you got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Washington Commanders. Yeah, this is probably the worst game of the week, if I'm being honest. The Cardinals have no expectations coming this year. It's been a disastrous offseason for them. Sorry to my friends in Arizona. And the Commanders, they're very mediocre, like always. The Cardinals, they lost DeAndre Hopkins this offseason, big piece of their offense. And they lost Isaiah Simmons, their linebacker, and it's just not looking good. Kyler Murray wants out, it seems like, and it's not looking good. And the Washington Commanders, like, they can put up fights, they can win games, but I don't think they're going to win enough games to make it to the playoffs this year. That's why I have the Commanders winning this one. Final score, I have Washington winning this one 30-17. Then next up, you got the Carolina Panthers taking on the Falcons in Atlanta. So the Panthers, they got Bryce Young as their starting quarterback. It sounds like he's going to start week 1, which makes sense because, them trading all those draft picks and trading a lot to get that number 1 pick with the Bears, might as well use that draft pick to start a new quarterback. Meanwhile, the Falcons, Desmond Ridder, he's not the best quarterback, I don't think. I think Desmond Ridder's a little overrated because there's a lot of hype around him, it seems like. The Falcons, they might have more weapons, honestly. They got Drake London. They got Calvin Ridley, who is very underrated. So I think they got a good receiving core, and that's why I'm taking the Falcons at home in this Week 1 matchup. So I just think the Falcons are a better overall team. Final score, I have the Falcons winning this one 24-17. Then next up, you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading into Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The Buccaneers, with Tom Brady retiring, which is a big headline this offseason, they're going to take a step back, I think. The Buccaneers also got Baker Mayfield as starting quarterback. I don't think that's going to work out so well for them. Still got a good receiving core, very good receiving core, and Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Ronald Jones is their running back. Meanwhile, the Vikings, I expect them to take a step back with their offense this year. They lost Adam Thielen, they lost Dalvin Cook. Those were 2 big pieces of their offense, and Kirk Cousins can't do it all on his own. All he has is Justin Jefferson. So that's part of the reason why I think the Lions might win that division. But either way, the Vikings are at home here. I expect them to take this game and win. Final score, I have the Vikings with their offense taking a step back. I have them kicking a lot of field goals and winning this game. Final score 26-17. Then next up, you got the Green Bay Packers, the new look Green Bay Packers taking on the Bears in Chicago. Another game that's I don't think is that exciting because Jordan Love, it's going to be his first it's going to be his first year being the actual starter for quarterback, and they got a few pieces on offense like Aaron Jones and Christian Watson, but that's about it with the Packers. And their defense, is all right with Jair Alexander. Meanwhile, the Bears, I think either the Packers or the Bears will finish last in this division. I would not be surprised if it's the Packers this year. Meanwhile, the Bears, they got some possible up-and-coming talent, but a lot of it's going to rely on Justin Fields. Justin Fields does have David Montgomery. He's got Darnell Mooney and Juju Smith-Schuster, a decent receiving core. But with the Bears being at home, I'm actually going to take the Bears to win this game. Final score, I have it being decently close. Final score, I have the Bears winning 28-20. And yeah, it's going to be a rough season for both of these teams, I think. Then next up, you got the LA Rams taking on the Seahawks in Seattle. So the Rams going 5-12 last year, that had to have been the worst performance a reigning Super Bowl champion has ever had in an NFL season, winning only 5 games after winning the Super Bowl. Now, I guess I don't have much to speak on that because when the Broncos won the Super Bowl back in 2015, they went 9-7 and missed the playoffs the year after. But you also got to think Peyton Manning retired then too, so that's a good excuse to miss out on the playoffs if you're Denver in that situation. But anyway, the Rams, people are saying the Rams are going to be bad this year, but I think they just had a really bad year. They had a lot of injuries, and they still have a good foundation. Like, they got Matthew Stafford as a quarterback. They got Cam Akers, who's a very underrated running back. If Matthew Stafford can find other guys other than Josh Cooper Kupp to throw the ball to, that could be an elite team again. Meanwhile, the Seahawks, I think there's them going 9-8 and making it to the playoffs last year after trading Russell Wilson to the Broncos. I think it was a little bit of a fluke. I think Geno Smith, he's an okay quarterback, but I think he just overperformed last year. I think he does got some good weapons on offense. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and a very good team, or a very good receiving core, I should say. But I actually think the Rams are going to win this game. I think the Rams will finish better than the Seahawks this year, and the Rams could win the division, but I'm going to take the 49ers. But Rams are going to be fighting for a playoff spot. I don't think Seattle will be close to the playoffs this year, or I don't think the Seahawks will get in the playoffs. They could be close, but I don't think they will. Final score, I have the Rams winning this one 27-13. Or actually, no, Rams win 27-16. I think it'll be a little closer. But either way, Rams win that game. Then finally, you got the Cowboys taking on the Giants at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. So the Cowboys, they got a very good team. I think it only got better. Dak Prescott, he has CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. Ezekiel Elliott did step away from the team. He's not going to play for them. So I think the Cowboys' running game is going to take a step back, but I think the receiving core and their offense is still going to be electric, and their defense is pretty dang good too. The Cowboys also added the Colts. The Cowboys added Malcolm Butler, I think, from the Colts too. That's going to add another piece to their defense. Their defense is already pretty good. And the Cowboys low-key could play for a Super Bowl, like they could contend, but you also got to realize the Eagles are in their division, and I don't think they're as good as the 49ers yet in their conference. But anyway, the Cowboys are really good, and the Giants, they might have had a fluke season last year, but don't quote me on that because their roster is getting better. Daniel Jones did step up. Saquon Barkley, who I didn't expect to ever come back, had a big comeback breakout season last year. I expect Saquon Barkley to take another step forward this year. Giants, it'll be tough for Dallas to win this game at the Giants, but I do have the Cowboys winning this game. I expect it to be a decently high-scoring game, too. Final score, I have the Cowboys winning 34-31. And that's it for my Week 1 predictions. Like, subscribe, comment, and what you think about these predictions. And I know a lot of you are probably disappointed that I'm not doing a preseason NFL prediction for all the divisions and the playoffs like I did last year. The reason why is because every year I've done that on this YouTube channel. Like, I've predicted the playoffs and predicted the whole season before the season started. Every year I've done it for the Broncos, or every year I've done it for the NFL, the Broncos have sucked. And, every time I do those predictions for the whole entire season, I predict the Broncos to go 11-6, 12-5. Guess what they do? They go 5-12, 7-10. So I'm not going to jinx the Broncos again this year. And when I did that for the NBA a couple of years ago, that was when the Nuggets didn't have Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. the entire season. Jokic was on his own. Nuggets barely made it to the playoffs. It was a rough year. So me doing predictions for the entire season before the season starts is bad luck for this channel. And yeah, I'll definitely do, once the playoffs come around, I'll do playoff predictions like I did the playoff predictions for the NBA. I did it this year. Nuggets won the championship. I had them beating the Celtics. They beat the Heat instead. So yeah, rock on. And I'll do it for the NFL this year, and I do want to do one for baseball too. Even though I'm not that smart about MLB baseball, I've been watching it a lot lately, so I figured I should do that once playoff baseball comes around. But yeah, these are my Week 1. And yeah, I'll try to do more of these Week 1 recaps and predictions as the season goes on, as I have everyone in that division winning besides the Raiders. I have the Bills, the only team winning that division this week. Jaguars, the only one winning that division, and yeah, see there. I feel like I'm kind of. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna be wrong about the Browns winning this game. I feel like I should have picked the Bengals to win this game, but yeah, I had the Browns winning instead just because they're at home. The Bengals are still gonna be very good. And so video, my Super Bowl prediction, very early. The two teams that have going to the Super Bowl are the Bengals and the 49ers. I think the Bengals will get back there. I think they'll get past Patrick Mahomes, especially with Travis Kelce being out for some time. And the 49ers, I just think they'll get their revenge against the Eagles in the playoffs. And I think it's going to be 49ers, Bengals in the Super Bowl. And the Bengals have a better quarterback situation, so that's why I have the Bengals winning the Super Bowl this year. So that's the Bengals. They'll start off 0-1, but they will eventually be Super Bowl champions at the end. Kind of rambling on. Sorry about the long first intro and stuff. But yeah, those are my Week 1 predictions. Like, subscribe, comment. I'm Chris Romeo, and that's good Denver. Nuggets are NBA champions, and Broncos country, let's ride.